Hi, thank you so much for tuning in to P2P Relates, where we talk about all things relationships. I'm Pat Renfro, and today I want to ask you a question. It's that time of year again. What are your plans for 2021? I want to give you 3 ways to figure it out, just in case you haven't done it yet. Step 1, let's get right to it. Imagination. If you follow me, you've heard me talk about it before. I want to define it before we get into it. So when I think of imagination, it means we're imagining something. And when you think about it, it's really a powerful tool. But in order to imagine something, you have to have your heart and your mind in sync. You know, we have so many different things we're responsible for in any given day, let alone week, month, or year. So our hearts can be racing in the moment because we're excited, we're full of anticipation, or we're afraid, or we might even be sorrowful. But we have a heart, and a heart that feels. Now, you've also got a heart that relates to your mind. In your mind, you feel things, you think of things, you problem solve and troubleshoot things. And when you get those 2 things in contact with each other, what am I thinking? How do I feel about it? Can I connect the dots between what's in my thinking and what's in my heart of hearts? And I think the best way to articulate that is to think about when you were a child. As a child, we have all kinds of imaginations. We play, especially if you think about single children that had no siblings. They had to play by themselves. They had to have an imagination. They took that doll or that truck or that soldier and they made a whole skit out of it. And they could play for hours at a time by themselves. But any of us, whether we had siblings or not, even in the playground, we're having imaginations about relationships, about opportunities for fun, for connecting, for being involved, for winning. So I'm taking you all the way back there because as we go through life, we all encounter disappointments, dreams and hopes that didn't come to pass. And it's really easy to get to a place where you go, oh, well, I don't know, whatever. And you try a thing, you hope it works. If it doesn't work, you go to the next thing. Sometimes even more deflated, more disappointed. So it's really important to not drop the ball completely and as an adult get to the place where you no longer dream. There are many entrepreneurs out there that are very successful. And if you were to tap into any one of those people and just ask them what it took, you would hear first vision and dream, and then you would hear plans. So that's what we're going to go through today. So I want you to plan on sometimes within the next couple of weeks an imagination session. And you might choose to do 2 or 3 of those sessions. Pull out your favorite journal and your favorite pen and get into a room that brings you peace, brings you joy, brings you solace. And just get really singular focused, meaning you're not thinking about Christmas. You're not thinking about what gifts you owe or what bills you have to pay or what's going to be for dinner or what room do you need to clean up or what client do you need to finish off. No, this is your time. It's kind of like those of you who are workout buffs and you're very disciplined about getting out and going to work out at least 3 to 5 days a week, or some of you every day. Well, take that same discipline and go into your quiet place and sit still. And I've talked in previous videos about breathing. Maybe you'll do that 3 to 10 times. Just depends on what you need to center your mind so that it can get paralleled or in touch with, perpendicular to your heart. And once you get there, I've even closed my eyes, but you know, it's your imagination session. So I'm not going to define every step. I just want you to do whatever you need to do to get in that place where your mind and your heart are parallel and they're running together. And what are they doing? I close my eyes and I think about, if failure were impossible, what would I do? And once I get that in my mind, I let my mind and my heart run into the forest and just explore. And I start writing once I get a clear video running in my head. I write down ideas, notions, possibilities, what ifs, things that, problems I'd love to solve. Maybe I don't have an answer. Maybe I write until I come up with a framework. And maybe session 2 or 3 will give me some answers. But I'm telling you, you're going to get a lot more answers doing these imagination sessions than you would ever do just walking around thinking about it. So that's step 1. Do your imagination session or sessions. Then the second step is to draw it out. Make a pictorial of it. You want to take the words and put them in some type of framework. You know how these days they have animations and they'll get you with an email, and then you open the email to answer a question like, how do you lower cholesterol immediately? 5 ways. And so you open it up and you're thinking they're going to just tell you the 5 ways, and instead an hour later they're telling you to buy some pills. But there's a lot of animation in there. Well, just imagine that you're the animator. And you're going to put pictures or frames or drawings, diagrams, narratives, whatever you need. Maybe, imagine that you're in 2nd to 5th grade and the teacher says, I'm going to give you a large sheet of paper. So you get this big sheet of paper that's that tall and that big with markers and pencils, and she says you can lay on the floor, you can get in the corner, you can do whatever you want to do. I want you to draw a picture. So that's what I want you to do. It doesn't have to be dramatic like that, but in your journal that you've picked, you're going to have a space where you draw out on your level something that illustrates what you wrote above. That's step 2. And then finally, step 3, write a plan. What does it look like to walk this out? You don't have to have every step. You're not going in a mindset like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, you're going in a mindset that says, what are some of the things, just brainstorming, that I would imagine I need to do right away to make this happen? What is the date? That's one of the most important things you could say. When am I going to start implementing or working on this? Then you would say, what is my timeline? Maybe I say, okay, we're in December. We're in mid-December already. Man, this whole year went by really fast. I used to always say, time goes by really fast, whether you're having fun or not. But anyway, this year has flown by. And so here we are at the end. And so you might say, okay, I know the first week in January, I'm still going to be just trying to get my dander up for even facing all that is going to occur for the year of 2021. I'm settling into it. I'm coming out of vacation mode, out of Christmas mode, out of New Year's mode. And I'll get that first week to get the kids off to school or to get back to the job or whatever. But then you set the date and say, by the 2nd week in January, or by the 5th of January, or whatever, by January 31st, I would have had A, B, and C done. Or I will have to do research to even be able to start this. Or I will have to figure out what my client base might look like, or how to network, or where to pursue this, or whatever. It depends on what it is and what it is you've done already. If you've done nothing, what you know about it, all of that. But the imagination session gives you the framework for going forward. The diagram, the pictorial that you would develop, step 2, gives you a picture in your mind's eye that captures the the heart of what you're talking about. And then finally, 3 is the plan. We can think of all types of exciting things and things that are possible, but if we don't put a plan together, it's just a thought and it will sit just there. We don't know everything, so we can't predict the future, but boy, can we push toward it. And so if I have a plan and I put a date on it, a plan isn't real if the date doesn't exist. And sometimes our fears can get in the way and stop us from really pushing forward. And sometimes we need a network. We need a support system. We need mentors, people who have been where we're trying to go already. Maybe they're not doing the exact idea that we have, but they have taken their idea and pushed it out when there were no guidelines. There was no safety net. They just did it. And they could help you because they know what it's like to push past fear, push past the unknown, push past the haven't figured it out yet, and just get into it. So that's what step 3 is all about, is that plan, putting a date on it. It's like the SMART goals. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And so if I don't make sure that I'm specific in my plans, I don't make sure that there's something I can measure from before, during, and after, if I don't make sure that it's doable, it's no need of me saying I'm going to be the competitor of Amazon by the end of 2021. That's probably most likely not realistic, but that's not attainable. And then the next one is relevant. Are your goals relevant? Do they fit with what it is you're trying to accomplish? Or is it a pie in the sky stretch, something that's not directly related to where you're headed, your overall mission for who you are and what you're trying to do? So that's part of that relevance. And then finally, timely. You got to set goals. If I say, I'm always using this example, but if I say I want to lose weight, I can't just say I want to lose 15 pounds. I've got to say by when. And if I don't put a by when on it, it's easy for me to look up and a year later, 5 years later, it didn't happen and I'm wondering why. So it's really important that we time bound whatever goals we have. So those are the 3 steps. I hope that was useful. In summary, what are your plans for 2021? It's been a heck of a year for 2020. Probably a grand surprise for most of us on so many different levels, and so much loss, and in many cases gain has been also relevant and very substantial here. We've accomplished some things this year that we might not have had an opportunity or a motivation to manage. And so now the year's over, just about, and we're going into a brand new year, and we don't know what's ahead. We know the coronavirus has waved its ugly tail and gotten in the way on a lot of levels and done a lot of things, but nothing lasts forever. So the vaccine's here, and many of us have to decide if we're going to do it. And so, here we are. But what we don't want to do is we don't want to look up and be this time next year, which will fly by just like this one did, and see our goals in the background and go, oh my goodness, I said I was going to do this and look where I am, or look where I am not. And so this is a time, and I just want to challenge you to really think about it, figure it out, find your favorite journal, and get going on your imagination sessions. In the meantime, have a great week. Hit the subscribe button so that you can hear about other things I'm going to talk about in all things relationships, as well as if you tap the bell, it'll let you know as soon as I upload, which I do on every Friday. And then finally, give it a like if you haven't done so already, and share it with other people. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for your comments, and have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Friday. Bye.